Hi, welcome to Q Recaps. Today I will recap the movie Constantine from 2005. The mother was about to bring tea to her feverish daughter when a horrifying sight stopped her in her tracks. Peering through the door's crack, she saw her daughter suspended upside down from the ceiling, crawling like a spider, her face twisted into a demonic grimace. It was evident that an evil spirit had possessed her. Soon enough, the news reached the famed exorcist, Constantine. Unperturbed, Constantine entered the room and yanked down the curtains, flooding the space with sunlight. He retrieved a seal and pressed it steadfastly against the girl's forehead, all the while incessantly reciting incantations. The girl writhed in agony before ultimately losing consciousness. Soon after, a demon burst forth from her throat, trying to escape, but Constantine struck it back with a powerful punch. He then instructed everyone present to find a mirror and had 4 people hoist it up, positioning it to face the girl lying on the bed. With a stern warning, he told them to keep their eyes shut, regardless of what transpired. Constantine covered the girl's eyes and resumed chanting his incantations. But curiosity got the better of one man, who couldn't help but steal a glance, causing his hair and beard to turn ghostly white in an instant. Wasting no time, Constantine completed the incantation, ensnaring the demon within the mirror's confines. He then threw the mirror out of the window, and as it shattered into countless pieces, the demon was banished back to the fiery pits of hell. Miraculously, the girl's complexion returned to normal, signifying that she had been freed from the demonic possession. That was Constantine, whose extraordinary exorcism abilities made even the demons of hell tremble with hatred. Satan himself vowed that when Constantine's time came, he would personally descend to the mortal realm to claim his soul. For someone like Constantine, handling such minor disturbances was as easy as breathing. Later, Constantine's eyes were drawn to a curious drawing on the wall. The girl had created it during her illness. The image depicted the legendary Spear of Destiny, the fabled weapon said to have pierced Jesus' side. It was believed that the one who possessed this spear could control the very fate of the world. As he gazed upon the image, Constantine couldn't help but feel that there was more to the situation than met the eye. Perhaps it wasn't just a mere demon trying to break free and enter the human realm after all. Something far more complex and sinister could be at play. In a forgotten church in Mexico, a vagrant, while rummaging through the ruins, discovered an ancient relic, the legendary Spear of Destiny, believed to have pierced Jesus. As the vagrant grasped the spearhead, he felt an enigmatic force envelop him. His eyes glazed over as he began to walk in a determined direction. Suddenly, a speeding car barreled into him. Incredibly, while the vehicle lay crumpled from the impact, the vagrant emerged unscathed. As he stood, a peculiar pattern appeared on his arm. Unfazed, the vagrant continued on his mysterious journey, leaving a trail of lifeless creatures in his wake, each meeting their demise in the blink of an eye. Constantine felt a nagging suspicion that this exorcism was unlike any other he had experienced. Demons, which should have been confined to the underworld, were appearing in the human realm with increasing frequency. He was determined to uncover the truth, but time was not on his side. Having smoked 30 cigarettes a day since the age of 15, he had been diagnosed with late-stage lung cancer at a young age. He was unwilling to die without first securing enough merit to gain entrance to heaven. In his childhood, Constantine had the rare ability to see hell's demons among people. This gift, however, led his parents to commit him to a mental institution, where he suffered through excruciating treatments. Desperate to escape the torment, Constantine chose suicide. Yet, after a mere 2 minutes of death, he bore witness to souls being ripped apart by hellhounds, a sight so petrifying it left him gasping for air. Although he was revived, his act of suicide condemned him to an eternity in hell. Over the years, he had banished countless demons back to the underworld, all in a bid to win God's favor and secure his passage to heaven upon his death. Now, faced with a terminal diagnosis, Constantine was desperate to avoid damnation. With no other recourse, he went to a church and sought out the archangel Gabriel to inquire about his chances of ascending to heaven. Gabriel bluntly informed him it was impossible, as his actions were too self-serving. Only those with genuine faith and a spirit of selfless sacrifice were deemed worthy of heaven. Furious, Constantine couldn't fathom that after all he had done, he still hadn't won God's favor. With no other options, he dejectedly made his way home. As he reached the street, a violent coughing fit brought him to his knees. Suddenly, a crab crawled onto his hand. Just as Constantine began to ponder the strange occurrence, he was attacked by a demon composed of insects. The demon warned him not to meddle in matters that didn't concern him. Luckily, Constantine managed to flee to the middle of the road, where a speeding car heroically dispatched the demon for him. As the situation grew increasingly dire, it was clear that something was amiss. A pact had once been forged between the realms of gods and demons, decreeing that neither side should directly interfere with the affairs of the human world. The fact that demons were now breaking through the barrier and entering the human realm hinted at malevolent forces stirring in the underworld, with someone determined to shatter the barrier. In response to these troubling events, Constantine ventured to a bar, a sanctuary of absolute neutrality where angels and demons could freely coexist. The enigmatic proprietor of this establishment was a man named Midnight, a neutral sorcerer who held no allegiance to either angels or demons, yet wielded immense magical power. Among his curious possessions was a mystical chair that, when occupied, granted the ability to trace the origins of demonic power. Constantine approached Midnight with the intention of sitting in this enigmatic chair, hoping to unravel the mystery behind the demon's direct entry into the human world. However, Midnight denied his request, steadfastly insisting that he must always maintain his neutrality. Not long after Constantine returned home, he was visited by a striking police officer named Angela, who sought his help in investigating her sister's mysterious death. Mere days prior, Angela's sister had leapt from a rooftop without a hint of emotion and died instantly. The authorities deemed her death a suicide, but Angela, knowing her sister was a devout Catholic, couldn't fathom her taking her own life. Church doctrine dictates that those who commit suicide are condemned to hell, where they suffer agonizing torment. Convinced there was a hidden truth behind her sister's demise, Angela watched surveillance footage from just before the fateful event. Her sister, staring into the camera, mentioned a name. Following this clue, Angela found exorcist Constantine. Reluctant to get involved, Constantine dismissed Angela's pleas. But as she left, the room suddenly trembled, and he spotted a horde of demons passing by the window. Alarmed, he dashed after Angela. Just then, the streetlights flickered out one after another. Panicked, Constantine pulled Angela towards a roadside statue of the Virgin Mary. As darkness closed in around them, he quickly lit a piece of holy cloth with sulfur to ward off the encroaching evil. In a flash, the flickering light banished the darkness, exposing countless demons in the sky that disintegrated to ash under the glare of the sulfur flames. Constantine came to the realization that Angela's sister's demise was intertwined with these demonic forces. To unravel the truth, he resolved to journey into the depths of hell. First, he fetched a basin of water and picked up a black cat that had been close to Angela's sister during her lifetime. He placed his feet in the water and locked eyes with the feline. In an instant, the cat's pupils contracted, bubbles emerged from the basin, and time came to a standstill. Constantine found himself in the heart of hell, surrounded by burning ruins, tormented souls screaming in agony, and demons dancing in a frenzy of chaos. As he navigated this nightmarish realm, a relentless horde of demons pursued him. Soon, he located Angela's sister, who took notice of him as well. She removed a bracelet from her wrist and hurled it into the air. Constantine dashed forward, and as the demons closed in, he leapt to snatch the bracelet. In that crucial moment, he crushed a teleportation crystal, successfully returning to the mortal realm. Constantine handed the bracelet to Angela. Inscribed on it was her sister's name, confirming that she had indeed taken her own life. This revelation left Angela utterly bewildered and lost for answers. Meanwhile, Constantine's priest friend surreptitiously made his way to the morgue to examine the body of Angela's sister. Grasping the corpse's hand, the priest began to use his unique ability to extract information from hell. Suddenly, he shuddered as a sinister mark slowly materialized on the body. At last, he grasped the truth behind the events. However, he had already attracted the attention of demons. As hellish voices filled his ears and pain engulfed him, he desperately reached for the flask of alcohol in his pocket, hoping the liquor would sever the connection. Yet, no matter what he did, the liquid refused to pour out. In a panic, he dashed to a nearby convenience store and grabbed bottle after bottle of alcohol, only to encounter the same problem. It was as if the alcohol had solidified, not even allowing a single drop to escape. Knowing he had little time left, the priest hastily etched a message into his palm for Constantine before leaving this world. When Constantine arrived, he noticed the mark on the priest's hand and promptly asked a friend to investigate its meaning. The friend soon discovered the truth. The symbol represented the demon's son Mammon, who was dissatisfied with the rules established by his father and God. Mammon aimed to shatter the barriers and rule the mortal realm by himself. To do so, however, 3 conditions had to be fulfilled. First, they needed to find the spear of destiny, which had once pierced Jesus. Second, a powerful medium was required for Mammon's birth. And finally, divine assistance was necessary, meaning someone with God's power had to wield the spear of destiny and pierce the medium, heralding the demon son's arrival. No sooner had the friend shared this information than the demons targeted him as well. By the time Constantine and his friend arrived on the scene, The other friend had already been devoured by a swarm of flies. Angela finally understood her sister's reason for committing suicide. A believer in God, her sister possessed the ability to see spirits and served as an exceptional medium. She had chosen suicide to avoid becoming an accomplice to the demons. At that moment, Angela revealed to Constantine that she, too, had the ability to communicate with spirits, but her power had been suppressed. She asked Constantine to help her reactivate her abilities so she could see what her sister had seen. To accomplish this, she needed to come close to death, and water was the most suitable medium. Constantine instructed Angela to lie in a bathtub filled with water and held her down. Soon, Angela felt herself suffocating, and as time passed, her struggle intensified. She fought desperately, but Constantine held her firmly. Just as Angela was about to lose consciousness, time froze, and the bathtub shattered instantly. Angela's ability to communicate with spirits finally awakened. Weeping, she crawled out of the debris, witnessing everything her sister had experienced and the demon responsible for taking human lives. She then led Constantine to the scene of their friend's death, where they found a coin abandoned in a corner. Constantine immediately identified the perpetrator, a demonic messenger that lurked in the mortal realm. With resolve, he readied his weapons to confront the demon and settle the score. At that moment, in that fateful moment, the demonic messenger was admiring himself with narcissistic delight in a mirror. Constantine shattered the mirror with a single shot before splashing holy water on the demon's face, forcing it to reveal its true form. The demon seized Constantine by the throat, pressing him against the wall. Thinking quickly, Constantine slipped on a pair of sacred relic knuckles and landed a powerful punch that sent the demon messenger sprawling. He then brandished a Bible, threatening the demon and compelling it to disclose the truth. The demon admitted that they had discovered the legendary Spear of Destiny in their quest to resurrect the demon. Furthermore, they required a medium, and Angela, who had just awakened her ability to communicate with spirits, was the ideal candidate. Upon learning this, Constantine hastily escorted Angela away. However, as they journeyed, a mysterious force suddenly snatched Angela from his grasp. Constantine gave chase, his desperation growing, but the speed at which she was taken left him powerless to intervene. Aware of the severity of the situation, Constantine returned to Midnight's bar, imploring him to lend an infamous electric chair. This chair, responsible for the execution of over 200 condemned prisoners, possessed the power to forge a direct link with hell, enabling him to track the demons. Relenting after much persuasion, Midnight granted his request. With trepidation, Constantine sat in the electric chair, barefoot and immersed in water, as a surge of electricity racked his body, contorting his face in sheer agony. He glimpsed a man clutching the spear, en route to a location where a demonic legion had convened to herald the arrival of their master, the demon. That location was undoubtedly the site of the ritual. Wasting no time, Constantine and his apprentice dashed to the hospital to thwart the demon son's manifestation. They divided their efforts. The apprentice submerged an enormous cross in a water tank within the equipment room, while Constantine infiltrated the chamber housing the demons, using a lighter to trigger the fire sprinklers. The consecrated water, imbued with the essence of the cross, cascaded upon the demons, searing their flesh and unveiling their true forms. Armed and resolute, Constantine vanquished the remaining demons. At last, they located Angela's chamber, but they were too late. She was already possessed by the demon. As they restrained her, they fervently recited incantations, cognizant that the demon lurked within her, poised to rupture forth. The relentless chanting eventually subdued the demon, quelling its ominous presence. In a moment of vulnerability, as they let their guard down, the apprentice was suddenly hoisted into the air by an invisible, powerful force and violently slammed into the ceiling, tragically dying before their very eyes. Enraged, Constantine resolved to unleash his ultimate move. He rolled up his sleeves, clasped his hands together, and sought to summon an angel for aid. To his astonishment, a luminous figure materialized. It was the angel Gabriel, who proceeded to step on Constantine. As it turned out, she had already betrayed God and planned to assist the demon in dominating the human world. Her betrayal stemmed from her belief that the world was unjust. She questioned why evildoers could obtain God's forgiveness merely by repenting after committing heinous deeds, while devout believers had to abide by religious rules throughout their lives, with even the slightest misstep condemning them to hell. Gabriel held the conviction that only those who had endured the trials of hell were worthy of a place in heaven. With a gentle puff of breath, she sent Constantine hurtling hundreds of feet away. Gabriel commenced the last phase of the ritual, brandishing the Spear of Destiny to greet the demon within Angela's womb. However, just as the spear was poised to descend, time appeared to stand still. A pair of feet, coated in black muck, materialized from the sky, and a man dressed in a white suit emerged. This was none other than the ruler of hell, Satan himself. As fate would have it, Constantine had opted to slit his wrists in the midst of the crisis, recalling Satan's promise to personally collect his soul upon his death. Constantine revealed the demon son's plan to Satan, who was initially oblivious to the unfolding events. Assuming that Constantine was jesting, Satan shifted his attention to Gabriel's actions and only then grasped the severity of the situation. He quickly yanked Angela away, and in her shadow, he could discern the presence of the demon son. Despite the son's desperate attempts to resist, Satan easily cast him back into hell. Gabriel observed as Satan, gripped by fear, crumpled to the ground. Undeterred, she sought to stage a final resistance, trying to harness her divine powers against Satan. To her dismay, she discovered that she had been abandoned by God and stripped of her powers. With a mere glance from Satan, Gabriel's wings were consumed by the infernal flames. From that moment on, she was destined to exist as a mortal, forever barred from heaven and condemned to hell. After resolving the chaotic situation, Satan planned to grant Constantine a few more years of life. However, Constantine declined, opting instead to exchange this opportunity to ensure Angela's sister could enter heaven. Satan agreed and approached Constantine to escort him to hell. Yet, Constantine's body grew heavier and heavier, making it impossible for Satan to drag him any further. Suddenly, a radiant beam of divine light shone down, signifying that Constantine's self-sacrifice for others had earned him a place in heaven. Bathed in the heavenly light, Constantine defiantly gestured towards Satan before slowly ascending to paradise. Undeterred, Satan grabbed Constantine, thrust his hands into his lungs, and removed 2 dark masses, instantly curing his lung cancer. Determined to keep Constantine alive on earth, Satan knew it was the only way to lure him into damnation and ultimately bring him back to hell. From that moment on, Constantine continued his work as an exorcist, trading his ever-present cigarettes for chewing gum. In the film's final scene, he visits his apprentice's grave. As he leaves, wings sprouted from his apprentice's back, who then soars into the sky, becoming a new angel. Constantine smiles with relief, no longer single-mindedly pursuing entry to heaven. Heaven and hell are but a thought apart, and at last, he finds the true meaning of justice within himself. What do you think of this movie? If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.